I'm Ace. Good to have you here. Let me ask you something. You're one person doing three jobs: researching opportunities, building pages or tiny tools, and running tests. What if an agent could own just one of those jobs for you? What would that free you to do? Quick promise. By the end of this episode, you'll have 3 concrete agent designs you can stand up this week, a tiny affordable stack to run them, and a 1-weekend experiment that proves the idea. No fluff, real steps. Before we get technical, real quick story. I spun up a basic research agent for a niche gardening topic. 1 week, 1 brief, 1 page, and a tiny compost calculator later, within 3 months, that page pulled steady, small sales, about $150 a month. Not a windfall, but steady. That changed how I thought about time versus systems. That's the point. Small, repeatable wins add up. So let's break this down without turning it into a checklist read. Picture 3 agent roles that chain together. 1 finds opportunities, 1 ships pages and tiny tools, and 1 runs cheap revenue tests. I'll show you what each role actually does, a minimal stack, and the smallest experiment you can run this weekend. First, what do I mean by an agent? Don't think of a single prompt you fire once. Think of a role that runs a loop, collects signals, analyze them, produce a repeatable artifact, a brief, a draft, or a decision, and then hand off. Agents are useful when the steps are repeatable and measurable. Agents make mistakes. They hallucinate. So we design them with simple guardrails and a human-in-the-loop step for anything that publishes. Keep that in mind as we walk through the 3 setups. Meet the research agent. What it actually does is this. It hunts gaps. You give it a seed topic or 3, it scrapes SERP snippets, parses headings and FAQs, and pulls forum threads or Reddit posts for recurring pain points. Then it scores ideas by intent clarity, content gap, and monetization potential. Short example. Feed it compact composting for balconies, and it returns a ranked brief. Target keyword, a 1-sentence searcher intent, 3 missing sections competitors don't have, and suggested seed keywords. You don't get a finished article, you get a decision. Yes, explore this, or no, drop it. Human step. Glance at the brief, check for obvious hallucinations, and confirm the intent. That 60-second check prevents a lot of problems. Think about that for a moment. Next, picture this. You've got a vetted brief. Who builds the page? That's the page builder and micro tool creator. It turns the brief into an SEO first outline, a draft page, and, if it makes sense, a tiny JS widget, a calculator, converter, or checklist. Practical flow. The agent outputs a markdown file with title, meta description, H2s mapped to user questions, and a small client-side tool scaffold. It opens a pull request to your repo and provides a deploy preview. You click the preview, make small edits, merge, deploys happen automatically. Micro tool example. A compost rate calculator, 3 inputs, instant result, and a simple save results button that captures an email. That tiny interaction increases time on page and gives you an obvious lead magnet, shareable, useful, low maintenance. This is important. Keep the tool client-side and tiny, no back-end complexity. Embedded JS, static hosting, and a simple form handler. The goal is leverage, not engineering debt. Last piece, the revenue ops and test agent. It runs cheap experiments, price swaps, 2 email lead magnets, or alternate CTAs on a portion of traffic. It watches a few KPIs and flags wins or failures in plain language. Concrete test. Run a 2-week price swap on a $9 micro course. The agent flips pricing for a sample of traffic, tracks purchases and refunds, and returns a summary. Lift, confidence notes, and next step suggestions. You decide. Fast signal wins over protracted analysis. Now let's connect the dots. Research feeds briefs to the builder. The builder opens deployed previews and ships pages or tools. The revenue agent runs capture and pricing tests and feeds outcomes back into research so good ideas get promoted and weak ones get retired. Simple loop. Maintenance cadence I use. Weekly research runs, bi-weekly build merges, daily lightweight revenue checks. Keep a 15 to 30 minute weekly review slot. That's all it takes to stop rot and keep the pipeline honest. Risks? Yep. Agents will hallucinate. Drafts can be shallow. Costs can creep. Mitigate with 3 rules. 1. Human in the loop for anything public. 2. Cheap models for exploration and higher quality ones for final drafts. 3. Hard API budget caps and monitoring. Stick to those and you stay safe. Okay, what should you actually do this weekend? Stand up the research agent. Pick a narrow niche you already know. Feed 3 seed keywords. Run 1 crawl. Then pick the top brief. 1-minute verification. Does the brief point to a real user question competitors miss? If yes, schedule a 1-hour write and a tiny tool idea. If you only do one thing, ship 1 page with 1 micro tool and measure for 2 weeks. Learn. Iterate. That tiny loop compounds. It's how faceless digital real estate actually grows. Let's connect the dots one last time. 1 agent finds opportunity, 1 ships the asset, 1 tunes revenue. Combined, they turn repetitive tasks into a pipeline that scales your time, not your meetings. That's leverage. Pure and simple. If this episode helped, subscribe. I drop practical systems and tiny experiments you can actually run. Start with the research and gap finder, run 1 gap test, and tell me what you learned. Let's iterate together. Well, that's enough to think about for today. I appreciate you spending a few minutes with me. I'll catch you in the next one.